Good afternoon, morning, evening or night, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to us ranting about Ryan Reynolds' movie. We recently saw Free Guy, and we're sort of riding high off that. We're like the good
Ryan
vibes.
wave.
Yeah, riding the Ryan wave, as it were. So we thought, why not delve into a couple of his other films? Maybe like
some of his classics.
Yeah,
his backlog.
His all-time backlog classics. And then we could sort of figure out, like, how did he get to where he is today?
The ranking of the Reynolds movies.
A Ryan Reynolds tier list, maybe? Yeah. So we decided to watch R.I.P.D.
Yeah, R.I.P.D. The Rest in Peace Department movie.
The movie based off the famous set of comic books, R.I.P.D., same name, featuring...
You mean MENBLACK? ED? Oh.
This movie's got stars in it. It's obviously got Ryan Reynolds, fresh off of Green Lantern at the time. It's got the guy,
The Big
Lebowski himself. He's in this film,
playing the character from True Grit, but in
R.I.P.D.
In the R.I.P.D. universe. And I knew we were coming from this from the angle of like the Ryan Reynolds part of it being a Ryan Reynolds vehicle, but Ryan Reynolds is what gives the least impression out of everything else to talk about with this movie. He's like the most generic, forgettable thing about it. He's not even the part I'm like, man, this is what is bad about this. It's not even him. Yeah, but it doesn't help. But
in saying that, it's not surprising that he's there for this. You know?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. We were like joking while watching it. It's might be the worst world building ever. We're talking about a combination of Men in Black, The Matrix, and Ghostbusters mainly, right?
Yeah.
Those are sort of the main three.
Heavy emphasis on the Men in Black.
The whole aesthetic of the secret organization that's kind of in that base underground with the booths taking the whole office.
Yeah, and you
thing.
got to like take a toilet to get back to the real world.
It's all like so generic and just so familiar, especially for 2013. It seems like an early 2000s kind of movie they'd try and pump out. I don't know if it was to try and coincide with Men in Black 3 or something.
Yeah, well, as it's based off a comic book, this movie came out a year after the Avengers, which is hilarious in and of itself. But so whatever company made this were like, okay, just find a comic we can get the rights to. Do it now.
Yeah,
they got R.I.P.D.
and they do that classic cliche from the time of the blue laser shooting into the sky and opening a portal. Yeah,
this movie has one of the most like cliche plots.
This, and they have the audacity for Jeff Bridges to have a well, that's a cliche thing to say line. It's like, oh my god, like this movie. It's like a formula. Made it.
The way I see it is that this movie is the Free Guy of 2013. Because back then you couldn't just...
People didn't like this, though, is the difference.
Yeah. No, that is a big difference, but that's what I was about to say. This was before everything was owned by Disney, right? So they couldn't... To make this movie do well, they couldn't just be like, put lightsaber in it, have the Hulk show up.
And it actually is the guy from True Grit, but he's like cameo.
Yeah. It's the guy from True Grit who died and like he's been resurrected in the R.I.P.D. format. So they couldn't do that, but what they did do was just rip off other things. So that's where you get your Matrix stuff, you get your Men in Black stuff.
Yeah, the Matrix angle's more for like the action scenes with the cameras spinning around, and I noticed what sounded like the classic Matrix music clearly being edited around as like temp music in one of the scenes. Terrible. But then on top of that, with the sort of Ghostbusters angle where the thing they're hunting, instead of aliens like in Men in Black, it's
ghosts.
No, they got a name. They gave them a name.
Deados.
Deados. That's the one. Have you got your Dedo pop vinyl in the collection?
Fat Elvis pop vinyl.
Why Dedo? Like, it just makes you think of Freddo's.
Yeah, it's not like a play on anything.
Yeah, nothing's a play on anything in this movie.
No,
but that side of it though, before we go off that, the Ghostbusters side where it's like the gimmick, where it's like the fun ghost monster things, and like the repetition of they are on the hunt to stop a Dedo for whatever reason. They come up with like a reasoning later, so then they can have like a fucking chase scene with like a CG Left 4 Dead monster. It's like, it's taking tonally, it's so messed up because it's going for like comedy. It's trying to be a comedy, I think, first and foremost.
Yeah,
it ends on like a gag, like a deprecating gag, so it must be like it's their main priority, surely, like the way it's all come together.
My assumption would be that they're going for the Marvel balance of humor and seriousness.
Right, yeah. Whereas the only seriousness really comes from Ryan Reynolds, like super melodramatic backstory where he's like friends with Kevin Bacon, who has been like an undercover, well, not undercover, sorry,
him and Kevin Bacon were naughty cops, and during a drug bust they took some gold.
Yeah, some gold panels with some mysterious symbols on them.
Yeah. Jumping into the plot, it's like the most contrived, just bullshit.
Yeah, none of it matters.
So these two cops are doing a drug bust, and they steal this gold from the drug bust, making Ryan Reynolds a bad guy, obviously. Like,
yeah. But this is all delivered through exposition, and with him also saying, actually, I don't want to be a part of the naughty crimes anymore. Yeah, because I'm the good guy main character.
So Kevin Bacon then kills Ryan Reynolds because he doesn't want him to snake him out, I guess. He doesn't want him to turn the gold in. Long story short, turns out Kevin Bacon was dead the whole time, and he wanted the gold because
he was a CG monster himself.
Yeah, during the drug bust, these gangsters, I'm assuming, had, what was it, the staff of something that reverses, it makes dead people fall from the sky. It's like the laziest shit.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything original about it at all. It's the most just bare bones. It's almost like made up as it goes along, and the rules it doesn't even follow. That it's set up like the gimmick is that Jeff Bridges is playing a cowboy from the 1800s, so it's supposed to be like fish out of water humor. But like, there's jokes where he comments this whole porn thing. He like comments on, oh, has Kevin Bacon gone round to your house to clear your porn history? Because that would be like a legendary move, wouldn't it? It's like, well, I thought you were like a cowboy.
Yeah.
You've wrapped your head around like the internet then, and all of those concepts, all right?
Yeah, the whole movie is just so lazily put together. How long do you think this movie was in production for?
A month?
Yeah, like 25 days max. Yeah, going back to the action. The action revolves around... so they introduce like some CG guy, and then they chase him around.
As the worst first minute, maybe, of any movie.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we looked at it. It was 1 minute 30. Like they dropped the title card.
It's like we got you now. Like editing.
Yeah, and it's actually the point where you want to stop watching.
And previously, before this, I'd never got through the whole thing. Like I'd watch that first minute and be like, oh, I enjoyed the visceral shivers down my spine I got from that. Let's just not.
But every action scene, bar the last one, is just like poorly set up, like no physics, just like globular CG, uncanny valley mess.
Yeah.
Stuff bombarding your face. It's horrible.
Yeah, like there's just no gravity or anything.
No, and when there is gravity, it's wrong.
It doesn't. None of it matters is the thing, because the main characters are dead. So there's just no stakes to any of the action. Like, they set up like, we're like invincible, and there's a whole thing where Jeff Bridges rides Ryan Reynolds like a fucking cow. It's really weird.
Yeah, I don't know if it's meant to be a reference to that guy who rides the bomb with the cowboy hat.
Mm.
But like, it's shot so poorly, it's so obviously them just like lying on a green screen. Yeah. And the CG, man. This movie's a 12A.
Yeah, going back to the tone, like, these designs, these monsters, they are like Left 4 Dead horrible zombie things, but they're being used for slapstick, babyish, childlike fart and belch humor.
Yeah.
Which it just on a like creative decision level, it's like, what the actual fuck are you doing?
Because like with this is where it's like they were trying to rip off Men in Black but getting it so wrong, because Men in Black has like some weird imagery, but it's like always creepy. It's like just perfectly balanced. Like,
they're like aliens.
It's funny, they make silly little sounds, and
and they do have like cute dibby ones, like there's this gross squid thing. Yeah, the worms. They got the balance right in Men in Black.
Yeah, whereas in this, every creature is just the most horrendous. It's like the creepy. It's like a Left 4 Dead trailer. Mm-hmm. You are totally right with that.
It's a bit much, if I'm being real. As is the really the one joke this movie has, where the main two characters, because they're dead but have returned to Earth, they have to be seen by other people, but they can't maintain their old look. So there's this whole gag where Jeff Bridges on Earth is like a model to everyone else, so they keep doing like cutaways where it's like Kevin Bacon like staring down Jeff Bridges going ooh, and all this kind of humor. And for Ryan Reynolds, he's an old Asian man, so they get humor in quotes out of that. It's just like the repetition of this movie. It's like 3 chunks that are just the same chunk, just in a row 3 times, and then it ends. You put the beam.
Well, that's simply the 3-act formula of making a movie, Alex. Don't you see?
Oh God, you're really blowing my brain here.
No, they really, when they have a joke that they think is funny, they ride that shit into the ground. Mm-hmm. And no joke in this movie is funny. It's already in the ground. So them like trying to do these callback jokes to previous jokes is some of the most awkward viewing of a movie I've seen. Yeah,
because you're like, what emotion am I supposed to be feeling? Normally these kind of movies, they like overplay when it's like sappy and when it's too scary or something like that.
Yeah.
But you're more like, the movie wants you to be laughing, but you're scared. And when you're like, and when you're like scared of it, it's like funny because it's so bad.
Yeah, and when it's trying to be serious, you're laughing
because why would you remotely engage when like 5 seconds ago Kevin Bacon's like, you know, turning into a CG monster?
Yeah, that as well. Like they have Kevin Bacon at the end turn into this CG guy, and he barely even changes. He gets like a scratch on his face.
Yeah, everyone else turns into a horrible
like a crazy monster. So I guess it just made Kevin Bacon's job even easier, like, because they
wanted to use his star power face. You didn't want to use his face at the end. So
but he was 100% CG, and
you could tell by his voice acting, because he wasn't like it wasn't like he was on set. He was like really, he amped it up to 200% sort of thing.
Yeah, his accent became stronger.
yeah.
CG. It's really bizarre, but why not just do it practically? If you want to keep Kevin Bacon being Kevin Bacon.
Or just make the whole movie animated, because every time there's an action scene, it is basically.
Do you think there's any way this movie could have worked? The universe and everything.
Well, this is where we delve into the original comics, which I've done my research on, and delve deep into the R.I.P.D universe. No. unless like the original comic's like really awesome or something, and it's one of those where they've like fucked it. But if it is like the core ideas, I mean, like, no.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree.
Like, what is the hook of this universe?
Well, you know,
like it's so easy and they speak for themselves, like Ghostbusters and The Matrix and this shit. It's all self-explanatory, and Men in Black too. Not with R.I.P.D.
R.I.P.D. don't work. Okay, where for you does R.I.P.D. rank in the Ryan Reynolds filmography?
There are worse Ryan Reynolds movies, but I'm not sure if there are many worse sort of big Hollywood movies on this level, like with him in, if you know what I'm saying. Like the budget here, it's 130 million, like, come on.
Yo.
So yeah, I don't have much sympathy for this string of bad movies when it's like, you're probably getting a pretty fat paycheck from all these, Ryan.
Yeah, just so he can turn it into something to make fun of in Deadpool.
Yeah.
I guess it was all worth it artistically for that payoff at the end.
Well, we're here cheering for Free Guy 2. And hopefully, fingers crossed, if Disney buy them or whatever, R.I.P.D. 2.
Or at least a R.I.P.D. reference in either Free Guy 2 or Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Or I'll take a Deadpool standalone spin-off video on Ryan Reynolds' YouTube channel. I think that would be alright.
With just a reference to R.I.P.D.
With Jeff Bridges cameoing, playing the Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
That's the only way things become correct. Thanks for watching.